All right, where are we? We're in the London Christmas tournament. I guess we're doing Christmas in London. And we've got these holes, we've only played them. Where are we? London Christmas Jubilee Grove. So we played these for the 2022 Summer Major. I set up a playlist in Yahoo. Or excuse me, Yahoo. I set up a playlist in YouTube for the 2022, and I put all of the rounds that we played there. Brand new holes at the time, so the very first time out showed some video. I think that video is probably the one to really watch, because I believe Dunner and I got hooked up on that on most of the holes, and we really got to practice. But we will see. So I went back and watched those videos, so I have some basic notes, but I haven't gone out and played. So this is the second time, right? Let's go see. I'm just going to go play around and see what happens. We'll decide somewhere through. I'm going to qualify today, but if it doesn't look good, I won't. We're practicing. And let's go make sure I got the right stuff. So my notes say number 5 bag, APOC, Kingmaker. And I believe, let me look at the holes so I can try and remember. Sometimes when you're looking at the hole on the course and you're looking at even these bigger pictures, I'm going around this way trying to come at it. And I'm really kind of aiming for right here off the green. To try and go for the cup, you got to involve this sand right here coming around the bend. So if you hit perfect all the time, it's not a bad, you have at least a look. But I'm going to try and stay off to the side right there and then just chip it up. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Here we roll. Getting out on the course. Going through and watching, there is some interesting holes here, and it looked like we were starting to get the par threes kind of dialed in. There's some very slim rough bumps, at least on one of the par threes, if I remember correctly. And I don't know that any adjustment numbers that I have, if I end up in the right spot, are absolutely right, because I took these from like the opening round, like the front side. So I'm sure we modified our notes as the week went on. 5 top spin. Two, 3. It's 1.5 per ring. It's about a ring and a half. And I'm going to lean slightly to the left. Hitting it perfect. Get my perfect glasses on. I guess you can get a little bit of a run to the cup right there. Not bad. I can tell you right now that, like, there may be a shot for hole-in-one here, but I'll have to go back and watch this video and see how I set that up and see if I gave myself enough room. What I think I was doing the last time we played it was I was setting it up just a little bit farther to the right so that I gave myself a little bit of room on that tree. And I think I was putting a little bit of curl on it just to bring it, make sure it stayed to the left. The 5 topspin seemed like it was enough right there. I have on my notes between 4.5 and 5, so I suppose if you want to end up a little off of it, if your angle's not right and you're not rolling up towards the cup where you're going to have a nice short putt, You could put on like 4.5 and that'd keep you right off the edge of the green. Now the Spitfire has all that topspin. Run all that topspin out, and you can move that your ball guide, and the closer that ball guide gets to you, the smaller the rings get. And you can put it damn near right on the edge of the sand transition. You're going to be able to pull it way back, and you might, if you set it up right, be able to hit a grate on one side or the other and still get it in. You're that close with that. It's so accurate down there. So accurate. Hole number 1 in the bag. Hole number 2. My notes say Grizzly Nav. Okay, let's go look at it. It must be on a par 3. Okay, Grizzly Nav 1-to-1 plus 0.1. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm at mid club, and I need to do a 10% adjustment. So it hits 1.1 at mid. So 1.1 times the wind divided by 1.1. I'm going to add on 10%, so it balances out. So it's 1-to-1 plus 0.1. I'm doing half a bar of top spin and half a bar of left-hand side spin. Grizzly Nav. Let's see how that looks. That'd be one of those things you get on the course and it doesn't. Any of those will work. Navigator. Bringing out the big wind ball. Let's get that one rolling. Here we go. Okay, Grizzly Nav. Let me get my, I don't need my calculator on this one, but I'm going to get it up anyways. Just so I'm fully prepared. I got my notes next to me. I'm ready to roll. Here we go. 1-to-1 plus 0.1. So whatever the wind is, plus 0.1. If I can get an opponent. Hopefully everybody's having a good... Man, I'm telling you, hey, from a business perspective, I totally understand why once Golf Clash introduced the 9-hole cups. So originally, the way the tournaments worked is there was a tournament, and then it was like a month. There was a tournament, and it was like 3 or 4 weeks, and another month, and it was a tournament, and it was like 3 weeks, and then 2, and then there was back-to-back, and then there was some variety, and then 2018 rolled around, and now we were tournaments every 2 weeks. And it was nice. You had a week off. You could just kind of play and just kind of chill out and do the stuff and not worry about the thing. But half a bar. I'm going to do a 2. Okay, you got to kind of imagine it rolling down to the hill. Two 8, 2 9. Oh, if I was going to hit it great on one side or the other, great to the right is better. And get it to roll down to the cup. So then the 9-hole cups started, and the 9-hole cups, there was a little bit of spasm at the beginning with them too. There was like a 9-hole cup, and then there wasn't one for a while, and then we had a 9-hole cup. It was kind of nice, like between like on a major, or maybe like once a month there was a 9-hole cup, or like, you know, some kind of deal where they weren't. But then the meal ticket started. I think right around in that time, they were trying to increase what they look like, because they were in the process of getting ready to sell. And so now you got a constant stream every fucking day. People are playing for a tournament. They get a couple days off at the beginning of the week on a 9-hole cup. And my buddy Dunner, the 9-hole cups are like, you got to pop off a round. So you either have to practice a whole bunch. There's no room for error. You've got 9 holes, you got to pop off a round. The 9-hole cups work okay for me because like usually like earlier in the week, like I'll peak too early. But with a 9-hole cup, I'm kind of like, you're kind of like in the middle. So if you peak a little early, it might be okay. I have come out in the opening rounds or the qualifying rounds and smoked out a round, and then like there's no way I could back that up. Well, maybe. Hole number 3. Hole number 3. My notes. Before we look at it, Extra Mile Kingmaker. I'm bringing this is the one right in the spot. I'm bringing a Guardian. 4.5 to 5 topspin. So this was, if it's a little against a little headwind, 5. If it's with some tailwind, about 4.5 topspin. Now, there are ways that you can play this hole, but these trees are in play, and you really don't want to be on this side of the line. I'm not sure what, I mean, you're in wood right here. So I mean, if you draw the arc out, you know, like this distance from the cup is the same as this distance from the cup on that arc. So if you're out in this area, you're like out of the zone. Unless you brought a big ass ball. But I think these trees right here, because if you think about how your arc's going, like this is where you're teeing off and this is the green. So those trees are down here in this area. And where you want to get the trees is like in this spot. So you're at the highest spot when you come over the tree. So you're really giving yourself some room. So you can try and get on this hole like out into this zone out in here, and even if you get in the rough out here, you've got a shot coming at the green. If you can get out here, you're cleared from this tree, and this tree is in play. But there is also a sweet spot that's like right here, and it's a very sweet spot. If you overhit it just a little, this tree comes into play and your angle coming in is screwed. And if you underhit it just a little, now all of this shit's into play. There is a sweet little spot out there, and if you can hit that spot, there's a lane going to the cup. Now I suppose I could bring out a bigger ball so that I could bring out my sniper and try and start off on the green side, but I don't think a sniper has enough backspin. So I'm playing it with a Guardian. That does several things for me. Number one, it gives me distance here, so if I do end up a little, and with the backspin I have some options. I can dunk it, and I did try and dunk it on this green, and what I found is that it doesn't have enough to suck it back onto the green. You'll get caught up here, but it will stay in at least mine stayed on the fairway fringe area there, fairway area, and did not get involved with the rough. But it looked to me like I needed to do like a 10% at max on the shot going to the cup at 1.2 per wing with my Guardian. And I don't know that, I think I was pretty close to max. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So we need an Extra Mile and a Kingmaker. And I'm not going to be too surprised if the first time here my distance isn't absolutely perfect, because this is definitely a shot you want to find a spot and really pay attention. And I didn't write the yardage down from the last one. Extra Mile. 4.5 to 5 topspin. And I want to bring one with a Guardian. And I'm going to keep that bag with a Goliath just in case. There might be one of these holes that needs a Goliath. All right, here we go. Let's get on hole number 3. Let's get an Albie right here. I don't think I got an Albie on this during the summer major. It took us a couple times to find the right spot. And then trying to, now we found the right spot. Now what's the right club to bring for the second shot now that we're in the right spot? I'm going to do 4.5. 4.5. 3.6. There's 4.2. So that'd be 10%. And I'd rather over pull it just a little there. Perfect. I like how it rolled out there and didn't scoot. That looks like it's in the spot. I need to go back. I was looking up ahead of me at the trees and I didn't even catch the yardage. I need to look at the yardage mark there. I think in the zone, I'm at like the far end of the zone. Like I don't know that I would have wanted to go much farther, but I could have gone a little bit shorter. But if you're not in the right spot out there, those trees are, you could be in trouble. And I think from that spot, you're in trouble. Yeah, they might be able to work it around on the other side. Okay, there's Max. There's Min. So I'm at mid club. So 2.5 rings. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Ooh, in the sand. Overpulled it. I'm going to have to go back and look and see what the deal was. From where I was at right there, I was eking towards min club, and I did a max number, and I was pretty close to it. So that's the first time I've been in that. That's good info there. So let's see here. Guardian 1.5. Let me write on my notes here. All right. All right, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to start off on this side of the edge of the cup. If wind is not a factor, and I hit a great to the left, or a perfect, it might go in. If wind's a factor, great to the right, perfect. And I hit a great to the left. Whew. Swirled the cup. It left us in suspense. I recovered. Look at that. Gave myself a little bit of room. If you hit it perfect, it'll still go in. And if the wind was a factor, it was pushing it towards the flagpole. So then it'd push it back to the flagpole, and a perfect would still go in. So you're not taking a perfect out of play. I don't like to pull it off of the cup. I mean, when you're in the higher divisions and you've got bigger wind coming in, it's a different story. But in rookie, usually coming into the cup, the wind's not so high that you have to pull it off the cup from that short of a distance. Can't be good, be lucky. All right. Came out of the first three, survived the first three. Hole number 4. That's what we got to do. We got to pick something up in each set. Let's start off with these par 3s. Sniper, nav, 1 per ring. Now, what we were doing the last time we played this is we were doing with a sniper, plus 20 if the wind was less than 3.8. If it was over 3.8, it was a plus 30. All right. We'll start off with that as our starting spot. I wrote down nothing as far as numbers. So I have no idea, no clue, like what I'm supposed to be doing with this nav and sniper. No idea. Okay, let's see what the wind is. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I go first. 3 times 3.3. It's 3.96 rings. No, that's going to go through there too fast. 3.96. Oh, let's say 4 rings. Oh, great to the left. I have no idea where that would have came through if it came through on perfect, because there's, look at all the terrain that's up there. Shit. You hit that stuff, you have no idea. There's so much movement coming into that green that unless you hit it perfect. Now, I didn't write it down, but I do remember now that I'm watching my opponent. I think we were just putting on max backspin. And if I also remember correctly, we were setting it up in front of the cup. So it wasn't quite going at the cup. It looked like it was going to be short. Setting it up so that it's terminating at what looks like it's going to be the cup, but it's not quite to it. So you're like maybe a quarter of a square away from the cup. It looks like you didn't set it up right. I'm not sure if that has to do with, it's always, the thing about using a club and using lots of backspin, especially like if you've played a lot with a Guardian, I mean, I've played a lot with a Guardian, it always looks awesome when shot goes in where you use lots of backspin. But it misses. Now, I will say a thorn with its little tail, you have a much better shot because you're going to be able to see where it's going to go. But that's the thing about it, is without that tail, you can't see which way it's going to fling off. And so the first bounce, it starts doing weird shit because backspin doesn't take effect until the ball hits the ground the first time. And so it can make it do irregular stuff where it really catches, and then it, like, the ball guide didn't realize it was going to do all that. Sometimes that ball guide lies to you. I tell you. I swear. Hole number 5. APOC. Zerk. This must be a big asshole. All right. Now, the last time we played this, Dunner was laying it up right here. And I went for this with a power 5. And we had wind that was positive flowing wind. And I did not use the wind. I think I took the wind out because I was trying to make sure that I could get this no matter which way the wind was on our side of the fence. If we have headwind, I'm not sure that'll work. So like laying it up's probably the deal, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go for it. And part of the reason is that I don't mind being down in there and seeing what it looks like if you fail. Like if you fail down there, it's like it's not a big deal. You can easily get on. But too, I just got this off-roader. Just picked it up at the shop. Been waiting for years for it, and I'd like to you know, I'm not afraid to go out there and put it through some paces. Now, I'm not sure. It's either going to be number 1 or number 5 bag. One of those. One of those. And I want to bring... Let's see if we have... Let's see what kind of wind we have. The deal is, too, is that you can get too far out there. Like, that ball might not work, even with tailwind. It's like, oh, you got tailwind, now I can just, like, leave the wind in. Well, you're, like, looking at the first bounce, and it's like, hey, great, and your stuff's out there, but, like, where's the second bounce? And so everything looks good, and the wind pushes it. Well, the wind, the second bounce here, if it clips the rough at the very beginning, it'll just die in the rough. You want it to hit in the fairway and then bounce, and then it's the third bounce hit the rough. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see what we can get. Okay, you can see where that third bounce is. So right there, it's in the rough. But if I do leave the wind in, now it's a question of whether it'll throw me out. So here we go. 5-4. Isn't it perfect? If that doesn't get through, it ain't getting through. And it's through. All right. Now, I didn't, what did I have here? I think the last time I was here, I was in minimum grizzly, but I did a max number. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. It does look like it might be slightly downhill, but it's got to be pretty damn close to flat over there. See if my opponent can get around the corner and lay it up. I will tell you, on this shot, I have it written down. If I'm going to do the layup, I'm using, like, you can use a rock down in here. I suppose if you're trying to get all the way to the very tip, unless you have an upper developed rock, you're probably going to use your extra mile. Okay, Kingfisher. Ooh, I am in Kingfisher. I'm in max Kingfisher. 1.1 per ring. How close can I get to my rings? I'm just going to do 3.6 divided by 1.1. 3.3. .3 rings. There's 3 1/3. Oh, that was the great that really, oh man, I really, really, really wanted to hit that one perfect because that's the spot right there. Oh. And that's about how far off you'd be on a Kingfisher on a great to the right. So it is right there. That club's hard to miss if you hit a perfect. So from where my opponent's at, they're in max wood with a 3 power ball. And if I do remember correctly, it rolls out here, so that right there looked pretty good. Let's see if they hit a perfect. It should be pretty damn close if they hit a perfect, even though they kind of eyeballed the pool. They too hit it great, but that is the side for them if they're going to make it to go in. And they hit it great too. Just great. Just great. Look at that. We got that freaking hole is laughing its ass off at us. All right, in the hole. What's up, puppies? Doc Holliday's turn. Who let the dogs out? Come on, puppies. We'll go walk around. It is freaking cold out. And there's people that live in much colder places. But where I live at, it doesn't get cold, but it's always really, there's a lot of humidity here. So when it's 30 degrees or 25 degrees outside, it feels really, it's cold to your core. All right, hold on. All right, where were we? That was like 15, 20 minutes for me. Come on, where were we? Hole number 6. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? My notes say Rock Kingmaker plus 10 or extra mile power 5 ball. Let's see. This must be one of those holes that I've got 2 setups depending on which way the wind was blowing. So I think it must be with the power 5 ball. I'm trying to get over to this zone, and if not, I'm just laying up. I'm going to bring the big stuff out and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We'll just bring my number 1 bag and a Zerk. Can't go wrong with that. It's not the king of balls, but it's a Zerk. I mean, come on. What do we got? We got the king of balls. We got the working man's ball. The utility ball. Of course, the working man's ball, they're run by a different division. So, like, their motto against Titan is like, hey, when you're done with the amateur and you need a professional, you call a working man's ball. Yeah, so with the power 5 ball, you can get over to there to try and bridge the gap. So as long as we don't have any headwind, I'm going to go for it. We'll have to see how the bounces go. I'm not so sure if you didn't have the right wind with some of these topspin boost balls. And I think on a hole like this, the lower power ball doesn't kill you on the drive. There's always a spot that you can go out there and lay it up to. But where it kills you is on the second shot. All right, let's go for it. 4-3. It's a little over 2 rings. Should be pretty close to just riding the red line. Take the shot. That was like a ring and a half, 2 rings great to the right, but it seemed like it's 75,000 miles. Not even close. Even if I'd hit it perfect, that still didn't have enough yardage on it. Need a topspin boost ball or more direct tailwind. Gonna have to have some kind of help. All right. Now, thinking about how I'm using an off-roader, it's not quite as accurate as my Nirvana. I play my Nirvana. I've got a video out there, and I know if you look at Golf Clash Notebook, if you use the app, these numbers are not going to be right, but I do 2 per ring. But now I'm at 1.1, so I'm going to do 2.2 per ring. Let's see what we got. I'm at max. .6 rings. I don't think I have enough side spin to get me over there. I have to make the rest up with curl. 1.6 rings. Whew, I was right against the red line. Hitting it perfect. That was max curl. That's the one difference between the off-roader and the Nirvana is the curl. Like the Nirvana could have got there. I got to get used to, this doesn't have nearly as much. I think it has like 45, whereas the Nirvana had like 90. But all the other numbers are better, except for distance. It is just a little teeny bit shorter, but it has more topspin. So overall, I think it actually is probably either the same or a little bit farther. That is brutal. That's a tough shot to miss that like that. They were in the right spot. Oh, brutal. All right. Another hole in the bag. They're coming back to me pretty quick though. Not doing too bad. What do we got here? Hole number 7. Hole number 7. What is involved? Okay, let's see. Did I pick one up? The whole goal is to try and pick one up in each set. So I picked one up in the first set of 3, and I did not pick one up. I just played it out. I needed to pick something up there. So now we got to pick up 2 in order to make it up. And we're gonna have to pick them all up. Let's just make a pact right now. We'll just pick them all up. All right, this is a narrow ass rough bump. Now, the video that I watched on this, originally I was pushing up a half a ring, but I think you only have to push up the half a ring if you're involving yourself with the sand. But there is a narrow ass rough bump that you can do here, and I would really like to be in this spot over here as opposed to this spot, even if I have to put on a little bit of spin in order to get it back to the cup, because it gives you a little more flexibility. That way you could work it, so if the wind was coming from this direction, you could slide across here so that you could give yourself enough room to work out the wind. If the wind was blowing from this direction, you could get out into this area and at least give yourself more room before you get to the sand. All right. My notes say sniper, navigator. And I'm just wondering, I'm going to take the nav, but I'm just wondering if I shouldn't keep a quasar in mind. Sniper. All right, I guess this is going to be a determining hole because it's going to be very easy to end up getting into the shit here, because that is a G-string rough bump. And this wind is definitely, did I read that wind right? Let's okay, that wind's not going to be bad for us. I almost think with that kind of wind, I probably should be doing a little bit extra. All right, let's go see what it looks like. And I'm playing it 1-to-1, so I don't think I'm at max club. I think I'm at mid, and I'm already adding on 10% with the 1-to-1. if I can get an opponent. Nobody wants to play the kings. I remember when the game first came out where like you would get an opponent and it would show your trophies and all that. Like now you just see their picture, but you don't see their trophy count or their banners or any of that crap until you actually get on the field. Because that whole thing about people forfeiting it, that's true, and it's like that always cracked me up. The thing I don't like about the shot from over there is, unless you're getting up closer to that transition on this side of the sand, like where my opponent was at right there, if they brought out a little bit bigger ball so they could get more up into that pocket. Because what the deal is to tighten it up in order to get your ball guide to stop. Now watch where their second bounce is. See, like getting up close up there where they've got room. If you're farther back, your second bounce is so damn close to that rough. In that situation right there, like a katana, then they have plenty of, they get a little bit more wind to give them a little bit more ball to get up into that pocket. They wouldn't have to do anything strange to it. That might be a way to go at it. This rough bump is narrow. Okay, there's max, there's max. So I am at about mid clef, so I'm just doing a 1-to-1. So 2-2. That was 2-2-5. Oh, and I hit it great to the left. What is a great day? Just! Man, I would have loved to have seen a perfect on that one. Arrgh. It's got to be close. Close. The way that my opponent went, though, bouncing it over, if you're going to bounce it over there, I think that's like, I think I'd rather take that with my Grizzly than, you could set it up either way. You could bring out a 0 power ball. That would be a great place for a 0 power low wind ball. And you could bring out, and you'd hit it at minimum sniper, or you could bring out power 2 ball and hit it at max Grizzly or max whatever. Set it up so that you're right there at your max club. If you used a Goliath, you wouldn't have to bring out a 2 power. You could probably do it with a 0 power ball. A lot of times when you're bouncing over like that, I don't like to put stuff in play. But what you really got to start watching out for is that second bounce. And as long as the second bounce is really clear, it's, you know, it's not a bad deal. Because that rough bump is narrow. It's narrow. Hole number 8. Didn't get it. Hole number 8. What is? Hole number 8 is a par 4. APOC 4-4-4. We're going to go around a corner. I remember this one. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm trying to make it around the bend. And I found that if I brought out an Apocalypse with a 4 power and really the side spin, and I want to get all 4 side spin, and that'll leave me about 5.5 top spin. Now, where I normally would set up a shot like this, where I'm coming out into this area right here. So I'm trying to get from here to here, but I've got to negotiate this bend. So what I normally do is you could kind of come out here and draw your arc, and you'd start off in that spot right there, and I'd pull the ball along the red line until I was 2 rings of separation away from that. And that gets me on this trajectory. And so then you only have to make up that distance. But if I'm doing a max curl shot, which is what it's going to take to get it around here, I'm going to do a max curl shot. I like to give myself about 2.5 to 3 rings of separation to allow for the curl to become effective instead of pinching it up. Because then you can over curl it. You gotta give it a room for it to do its deal. But here I'm pinching it because I don't have any room. So I'm going to bring like a 1 3/4 rings, maybe 2 rings of separation, and then a max curl shot. But that's not how I normally do that. If I fail, I fail. Now, let's look at these. These are +3. I was hoping that they would just have some regular 4/4/4s this week. It's time to replenish the 4/4/4s, the utility ball, the working man. Did I bring the right? Let me make sure. So I don't have to change anything out there on the course. You don't want to have to change shit on the course. I did shoot a video about the ball sorting as well. For all you Monty Python fans. You can check in the holy. I saw Dale Appleby shot a video, and I had been thinking about shooting a video, and then in response to him, I was like, okay. So then in response, I shot that. I'm not sure that he liked it. He might not be a Monty Python fan. He is Canadian. Come on. I do not live very far from Canada. It's pretty up there. When I was a kid in school, we went on a couple field trips up into Canada. Now, I suppose that would be another way that you could go at it. If you had one of the 3-power topspin boost balls, you could probably go from over there and you wouldn't have to spend the 4/4/4. This would be a hole to go out there and practice with one of those 3-power topspin boost balls, and you could probably go off that island and with the topspin boost, even in a worst case scenario, if you couldn't make it all the way over where you were running on the fairway, you could do a rough bump and just bleed out and have a nice short. You would be in your wedge. Okay, so I'm going to ride the red line, and I'm going to come out about a ring and 3/4, 4, and however much will fit, which is about 5.5. 1.5 per ring, so 2 is 1 1/3. Max curl, slight bit of overpower. 7,000 rings, great to the right, so I'll end up in the same spot my opponent was in. Whew, just cleared it. I can tell you, unless that's really close to the cup, I would have rather been on the fringe. I would have rather been on the fringe, but that's all right. These side hill, you can see coming up to the cup from where my putting angle is, it's a side hill. So it's high on the left and low on the right, and so it's dropping. And so the putt to the cup, instead of just being able to be a straight putt, I'll have to follow the hill. Here we go. Need to make this one. Need to pick it up. Need to pick something up. I got to get this and hole number 9. See if that goes in. Whew. Yeah, I don't like those putts. I would have rather been on the fringe, to be honest. Or closer to the cup, one of the two. But not there. All right, we survived it. Hole number 9. All right, let's see if we can get an Albie on hole number 9. Let's look at it. My notes say APOC Kingmaker. All right, if I remember correctly, and hold on one second. All right, I had to talk to a man about a horse before I started playing this hole. All right, so on this one, if I remember correctly, I did bring out like one of those albatross balls that's 5 power. I think it's 2 topspin boost. And I was able to, with a tailwind, I think I was able to get over to here. I'm not sure. I know I got over one time, but I can't remember if I ended up in the fairway or if I ended up in the rough. But I did make it over. It was possible. But this is a sheer ass cliff where the water comes in, so there ain't no like clipping the sand and then rolling up. You are either over or you are in the water. I raised my voice level there a little so that you could understand. That's OB. Oh boy. I mean, we don't want to do that. But I think it's possible. I mean, I think depending on how the wind is, if you want to go for it, I'm if the wind's going the right way, you know, like we'll see what happens. But I'm just trying to lay it up right here so that I have a nice straight up shot. I'm trying to take all this stuff out of play so that my shot to the cup is straight to the cup. And so the farther you get out here, the closer you get down into this area. So if you're down into this area, and this is going to be a popular landing area for people, so like your red line's on this side, so you're shooting from over here with a 3 power ball coming across, and so most extra miles are going to end up on the low end. But if you look at the distance when you're out there on the course, so if we draw a line from this peninsula and we try and take that sand out, and we're on this trajectory, shit, you know, we can't hardly get the sand out of play unless we're in this very top corner. And there is quite a bit of distance difference. I think as far as arc goes, you're probably in the same arc down here, but your approach coming to it is cleaner if you're way up on the top high. That's why I'm bringing an APOC, so I can get some curl into it, and a Kingmaker, Number 5 bag and a Kingmaker. Here we roll. Now let's see if I actually remembered that hole correctly. All right. Looking at what I think I'd actually pulled back a little bit from the red line. Now let's see if with the power 3 ball, they're using the wind. You can see what I'm saying. If you get over, especially with that wind, but there's no way with a power 3 ball. But I think with a power 5 ball, switch to a power 5 ball and try it out, dude. There you go. Come on. There you go. That might make it. But with a top spin boost ball, that top spin, especially if you have a maxed out extra mile, that extra top spin is huge. And that barely made it over. There you go. So you can see that it's possible. Nice shot. See, look at that. I didn't even have to pay him. I pulled back to the +7 mark. I did 3 and however much I could get on. 3-1 should be 2 rings and a titch. I'm going to do 2.1. Max curl. And I hit it 2 rings on the inside, 2 rings to the left, and that is bad. You could see it barely made it on that first bounce. I mean, go back and rewind that video. There couldn't have been a blade of grass between the fairway and the rough. That is bad. I usually give myself a little bit more room, but on these holes, the angles of them, you gotta, for me, that's playing the hole a little bit aggressive. And I know a lot of people are like, shit, man, I set that shot up, I'm only a quarter ring off. It's like, yeah, you keep setting it up that way. Yeah, I got caught in the rough the other day. I over pulled it, or I under pulled it, or I hit it great to the left or the right. Well, I usually hit perfect. You're setting them up. Why wouldn't you set them up? Why wouldn't you set them up so that you have more room? I mean, shit. The drive in most cases is just a delivery system, and there is a yardage, there is a spot that's better than others. Like, it's more set up for what you're already bringing. Like, there's Min Club. I'm at Min Club right there. Let's leave enough room to work the wind out. Okay, that should be 3 rings. The grades today. Did I hit anything perfect? And I will tell you, I hit that grate to the right and it came in on the left. So that tells me one of 2 things is going on there. Either the landing zone is one of those zones where it's like that, or we need to make a big adjustment. But I don't know that that's the second shot that I'm really playing to try and get, so. All right. That was a round. I think I picked 1 up. One. Well, no, I think I picked up maybe 2. I think hole number 8 you kind of have to pick up. $14s. Somebody up there's got an Albie. Hole in 1. Albatross. All right, 14s at the top. What do we got? We got the extra qualifying and stuff, but I'd say hole number 8 we pretty much have to get. I mean, that's like the other par 4s seem like they're, like hole number 1 I wrote need and I circled it like 7 or 8 times, so hole number 1 must be another one that's like right there. Like we can get on in 1, and it is. So hole number 1 and hole number 8 we almost have to get. And so if you shoot minimum score, there's 12. And then you put those 2 on, that's 14 you have to get. And that leaves you 7 holes to try and pick up. Hell, I would think that we're probably going to have to pick up 2 aside plus those 2. So, I mean, we're going to have to, and we have plenty of opportunities. The par 3s there's a lot of makeable par 3s. And we have opportunities on the par 5s. All right, I think this is going to be a great course. You can come out and you can attack it with some big stuff. You can change up. I think this is what I really like to see in future design is if they're going to have the variable wind like we have, where on certain days, like the shot that you're taking does not work. You will not be able to take that shot. Like, this kind of wind, the way it responds. And so you have to have 2 shots in your bag, or you have to have multiple shots. I'd like to see with what Dunner and I have talked about with we've got courses like the Oasis that have multiple green locations, having one side with one, or the opening round with the originals and the final round with the new. So you have to have different shots throughout the week. Thanks for watching, and have a great Christmas. And I will see you. I'll probably shoot another one without Otto. I tried to get a hold of Dunner today. I'll try and get a hold of him again this afternoon, and maybe we can get matched up and go out there and shoot around. Be safe.